Hey, what's up? Hello, it's Katie here in front of my new bookshelves. This is the first time that I'm filming in front of this beautiful backdrop. If you have not seen me building these bookshelves, if you haven't seen me moving into my new apartment, decorating the bookshelves, that failing, then decorating them again in a new way that I've never done before, I'm gonna have my moving vlog series linked up above. It's a good time. I did 10 vlogs in 10 days. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But we're here to talk today about how many books I read in November, because good God, it's a lot. Real quick, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is PangoBooks. Now, I've seen PangoBooks across a lot of different booktubers channels, so I was very excited when they reached out to me and they were like, hey, Katie, we know you love to unhaul books, which is facts. And they're like, don't you think that you should be getting money back for that? Like, why don't you sell the books? And I was like, hello, like, keep talking, I'm listening. And they're like, hey, let me introduce you to our app. So PangoBooks is an app that is solely dedicated to people buying and selling used books. And the amazing thing about their app, in my opinion, is that it's all books. Like, that's all they do is books. Also, the app is super easy to use. Literally, if you want to sell a book, this is all you do. You go on there, you say sell, you scan the barcode, it immediately pops up with the book and all of its details, the publisher, when it came out, everything, the author. You don't have to do any of those details. You snap a picture of the book and then you put in a couple details about the condition of your current book, and then it's ready to sell. Boom, bam, boom. Like, it's immediate. It's perfection. That's amazing. And something else that's super cool is that, say if I was going to search a book, like I wanted to find the Southern Book Club's Guide to Selling Vampires. I saw someone was selling it, but I also see that in their shop, they're selling things like The Diviners or The Cabin at the End of the World. And I think, wow, this reader reads very similarly to me. You can follow that bookseller so that you can see whenever they put new books out, because you're probably going to be interested in them. I will say that the app is only available in the US, but it is available on iOS and Android. So if you're looking to make any space on your shelves and you want to sell some books, or if you're looking to fill some space and you want to buy some books, you could use my link down below for PangoBooks. Or if you already have the app, you can use my discount code Katie5 and you can use it at any time. It is not only when you first get the app, you can use it at checkout whenever you make a purchase. So that would be really cool if you wanted to do that, because I know we all love a discount. But anyway, I want to say thank you so much to PangoBooks for sponsoring this video. And speaking of the video, let's roll right into it. I can't believe some of these books I read this month. Like, that definitely had to have been October. And somehow it wasn't. So, have a little category moment. For starters, the biggest accomplishment is that I read 8 of these books physically. I read 8 physical books in a month. I'm sure so many people out there are like, that's nothing. But for me, that's astronomical. Astronomical. Like, when I moved into this apartment, I was only listening to audiobooks while I was moving because obviously I didn't have the time to physically read. But whenever my parents left, I just sat down on my couch and I just started reading, like, ferociously. And then also I was like binge watching reading sprints. So that was a good time for me. But that means that I listened to 18 audiobooks. Also, let's see, the genre wise, I read 7 fantasy books, 6 mysteries, 6 romances. I don't even recognize myself. 4 horrors, 2 contemporaries, which, like, who am I? And then also 1 nonfiction, which surprisingly is not only the first, but also the only nonfiction that I read for the entirety of 2021. Shocking. Okay, probably won't read any more. We'll find out. And then as far as star ratings go, I did not give any 1 stars, which compared to last month is amazing. Because last month, good God, October was not it, sis. I gave 3 2 stars, I gave 6 3 stars, and then I gave 7 4 stars and 7 5 stars. I give 7 5 stars. And I don't feel like I give 5 stars like a lot or necessarily that easily. Like, not only does it have to be a great book, but the vibes also have to be great. So, like, that's a 5-star book for me. Anyway, let's get into it. I am probably only gonna tell you what the books are about if I actually want you to read them or like I loved them, because we would be here for a million freaking years if I, as a Gemini, tried to explain the title and tried to explain the summary of all 26 of these books. No, miss me with that. Let's just begin. Starting out with a 4.5 star, I have People We Meet on Vacation. Okay, that didn't need to happen right now. I mean, it is hot in here though, so it's probably for the best, but still, rude. But People We Meet on Vacation is about these two friends who they kind of have a tradition where every year they go on a vacation together, and she's like a traveling blogger. And so she gets like these trips for free. And her best friend Alex have gone through a spat, you know, they've gone through a moment, and they're not friends anymore. And she's really broken up about it, and she misses him so much. So she decides to throw the reel out and is like, do you want to go on another vacation? Like, maybe we can mend this. And he shockingly says yes. So they're going on this vacation together, and of course it's a friends to lovers because this is a romance. And Emily Henry just has a way of just writing like really cozy, cute, realistic relationships. I just loved these characters. I thought they were so cute, and that was very shocking to me because I feel like I really need shit to be happening in books to like it. But this one did it for me. The dialogue, it was funny. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend it if you like romance, or really if you like contemporary. Like if you just like really sweet characters, I would suggest this book. My first physical read of November was A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This one I ended up giving 4.5 stars, where really it's probably more of a 4, but I just love Paul Tremblay so much and I love his writing that the vibes are 4.5 stars. So this is a horror, and this is about this family where they have two daughters, and the older daughter starts acting very strangely, like she's possessed. And the family doesn't know what to do about it. They're taking her to doctors, they're taking her to priests, they don't know what to do. And then a documentary crew, like a Netflix crew basically, is like, we want to do like a 7-episode series about you and see what's going on and try to do an exorcism and stuff. But you're also getting the point of view of a horror blogger years later who's rewatching the series and talking about why she thinks that it's fake. I will say that the blogger, that was completely unnecessary. Like all the blog posts, I had to bump this down 0.5 star because the blog posts were so gratuitous, they were so long, they were boring, they did not need to be there. I did not care about that at all. And this book is scary. Like, in my opinion, it is very unsettling. The things that this girl does, it's creepy as shit. And the way Paul Tremblay writes the younger sister is so believable. Like, he has such a believable way of writing children's point of views where you're like, yeah, this is so realistic. Like, this is exactly what a kid would think, a kid would say. This is how they would react. It's so good. I loved the sister relationship. I loved how effed up all this stuff was. And then also Paul Tremblay has a way of confusing you where you're just not sure what you think. Like, you don't even trust yourself. Where I'm telling you that I read this book physically and I was like paying attention, and I can't tell you whether this girl is possessed or not. I don't know. And I went back and forth, just like in The Cabinet End of the World. You're just like so confused. It's not black and white. It's all gray. Like, you don't know what's going on. Anyway, I've been talking about this one too much, but definitely recommend. This one is 4.5 stars. Another physical read is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Y'all are wrong for this. Y'all are wrong for this. Like, this is not it. I gave this 2 stars. I read it physically, and hear me out. Concept, very fascinating. I'm sure you already know what it's about because it's going everywhere right now. Like, everybody's talking about it, touting it as being like one of the best thrillers of the year. I beg to differ. I did not like this book. I thought that it was just insane. Like, the plot twists were preposterous. The ending is atrocious. It's atrocious. Like, that plot twist, I was like, oh. Like, it reminded me of the end of like Survive the Night, where you're like, you're telling me that they're gonna end up together? No, I just swear to God. And then also, there's so many things that are like, you're catfish. Like, there's all these little things where you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, oh my God. And then when you find out what's going on, you're like, okay. Like, the intrigue was way better than the payoff, because the payoff was lackluster. It was bad. I did not like this. I mean, if y'all liked it, good for you. That's awesome. But no, this is a no. Luckily, I followed that up with a 4-star audiobook, and that is Blood for Blood by Ryan Groudon. So this is the second in a duology of Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Groudon, and I do not know why more of BookTube does not talk about this book. Like, I know it wasn't a recent release or anything, but it's so good and it's so much fun. Like, if you just want some like fast, kind of like thrilling, interesting YA, like kind of dystopian-esque. Like, I would read this book. It's so good. It's about this girl who, it's basically like if the Third Reich had won and they were still living large. Basically, one of the scientists does experiments to try to turn these people in to like having blonde hair, being white, having blue eyes, and he accidentally turns this girl into a shapeshifter so she can change her appearance at will. And that's how she escapes the Holocaust. And then also she decides to use this ability to kill Hitler. Hitler does a trek like across the country, like a continental motorcycle trek where all these people compete and whoever wins gets a chance to meet Hitler. So this girl is like, I'm gonna win this race because I need to get close enough to kill Hitler. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, maybe that's just me and I'm a sicko, but like, that's amazing. Like, I loved it, and I really liked the second book. I thought the characters were fantastic. They were badass. They were like, had a lot of like emotional depth with each other. It was intriguing. I loved it. It is YA. It's not gonna like break your mind or anything, but I really suggest it. I would read it. Then I had a DNF, kind of unfortunately, but I also saw it coming. Fury Born by Claire Legrand. So the reason this is unfortunately is because I really loved Claire Legrand's Sawkill Girls, and I'm not saying that I will never read this, but I tried listening to the audio and I think I got like a third of the way in, and not only was I so confused, like I was so confused, but I didn't care. Like I did not care about the characters. It just wasn't hitting, and I feel like I don't really hear people talk about this book, so maybe I'm not wrong and people don't really like this. Like, if you really, really, really have an opinion about this book, leave it down below, because I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna pick this up again, and I need y'all to let me know what to do. And I followed that up with another DNF, and that's Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. Now, it's kind of similar in the way that I got 120 pages in, I think, and did not care at all. Like, I did not care. And I don't think that this is good. I really don't. I didn't understand why either of the characters would be likable. They weren't enough. Like, it's a romance. I thought it would kind of have a similar vibe of Red, White, and Royal Blue. It doesn't. It's just like a bad boy and like a neurotic boy. Like, he was too neurotic to be fun. And then the bad boy wasn't bad enough to be a bad boy. So I didn't get it. Like, I don't recommend it. Then, God bless, I finished a book, Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This book is sad. This book is sad. This book is fucked up. Like, mentally fucked up. Are you good? And then Grace was like, have you seen the movie? I'm like, no. And then a bunch of people, I swear to God, a bunch of people, like Sid from Sid Whitmer, were like, you've never seen that movie? I was like, no, I don't know what the book is about. What? It's about teenagers in high school or something, right? They're like, bitch, get ready. So I need to see the movie, but I gave this 5 stars. This is so good. It's so short. It is written stunningly. It is told in letters that a boy is writing to someone and you don't know who it is. And it's like a diary, basically. Like, he's writing about his life, and you're slowly getting more and more information, not only into him, his family, his friends, his school life, but into his past, into things that maybe have caused him to feel so lonely, things that have caused him to isolate, things like that. The main character clearly suffers from a severe anxiety disorder and suffers from like mental disorders that make it very hard for him to socialize, very hard for him to just live in a daily life. And it is told so realistically, because it's not another character looking at him saying he's doing this or thinking that what he's doing is weird. It's him saying things, and the way that he says it, the way he words his sentences, are just not normal. There's not the way that, not normal is a hard word. You know what I'm saying? It's not what you would casually hear, or maybe what you would say. And when you're hearing it, you're like, oh, wow, that's different. And I don't know, it was just so realistic. But if you haven't read it, I say that it still holds up to this day, and I would read it. These two I'm gonna do back to back because I have very similar feelings about them, and I just don't feel like I have the right to go into it. But that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown and Jade City by Fonda Lee. I gave these both 3 stars because I listened to them and I just don't feel like I was connected. I don't feel like I am connecting to fantasy right now. Unfortunately, I'm just in a fantasy slump, and really I feel like 2022 is going to be horror and then possibly romance and hopefully get back into fantasy later. But I had all these hopes that November was going to be fantasy oriented, and I just can't get myself to attach to a fantasy world right now. So Red Rising like, I'm not saying these books are bad. They're not. Like, I definitely like Jade City more than Red Rising, but I just couldn't connect. Like, I can't even tell you what these characters' names are. Like, I think this was Darrow. I don't know. Like, there was too many characters in this, but it's like, you need to pay attention. This is like almost epic fantasy, basically. But I don't know. They're both fantasy worlds. I'm going to put them back onto my TBR because I do want to reread them and then continue with the series, but I'm not going to put them on my read shelves because I don't feel like I even read these books. Like, I feel like technically I listened to them for like what would have been accumulation of like 40 hours, but it doesn't feel like I read it. You know what I'm saying? The Heart Principle by Helen Wong. Now, I read the first one, the Kiss Quotient. I haven't read the Bride Test, but I read the Kiss Quotient and I did not like it that much. Like, it was But this one I gave 4 stars. I really liked this, and I think everyone hyping it up is correct. Also, everyone who is saying that you're gonna cry reading this book is correct. Like, I only teared up, but I definitely see what everybody's saying. This is about a girl who is deciding that long-term dating and stuff is just not for her. She's like, no, I'm just gonna do a bunch of one-night stands. Like, let's just get it done. And she goes on a one-night stand with somebody, and it turns out that it's like, well, maybe we should like go on another, like, this one didn't work out, maybe we should go on another one. And then that one doesn't work out, they're like, maybe we should go on another one. And then it's like they're basically dating. It is so cute. It's like this tattooed like motorcycle boy and this like kind of high-strung girl, and like, it was a vibe. It was a vibe. I really liked it, so I would definitely, if you like romance, I think you would really like this book. Another romance audio that absolutely hit the mark is One to Watch. I was blown away. I loved it. I loved it. It was so good. Honestly, it's probably more of a 4.5. Like, this romance is it, and people are not talking about it enough. They're not. It's so good. Now, I don't know if the physical reading experience was as good as the audio because I preferred the audio. But this is about like kind of if you like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. So this is about basically like The Bachelorette, and there is a plus sized like fashion designer slash like fashion Instagrammer who is like pretty popular on Instagram and on Twitter. And she starts tweeting about this Bachelorette show, talking about how everyone is always white and skinny. And of course they're beautiful and thin. And like, is she even prettier? She's just skinny. And her, like, she drunkenly does this and it blows up on Twitter. And it gets so viral that the show reaches out to her and asks her if she wants to be the next like Bachelorette. And she's like, okay. And then you're following her on this reality show of all these guys and getting to know them, and then seeing like if they're legit or not, and seeing like, I don't know. It was so good. Now, I will tell you, there is a lot of fat phobia in this book. Like, a lot. If that is not something that you can read, don't read it, because it is like spoken about constantly, and it is not cool, but I mean, it's realistic. It's not like the author wasn't cool for saying it. It's like, if you can't stand to hear that, if that's a trigger for you, don't read this book. But if you want something that like you can feel enlightened by that, like a person persevering through that, then definitely read it. I will also say that this is, I think, probably the only book I've ever read where I genuinely did not know who she was going to end up with. For most of the book. For most of the book, there was like 3 different dudes where I was like, she could end up with any of them. Like, I would be happy with her ending up with any of them. What? Like, I was shook. And also, there's a character in it named Wyatt. And he's a precious baby. I loved him. His storyline, bitch, so cute. So yes, y'all are sleeping on One to Watch. Go read that book. And then I listened to Any Way the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell. So this is the 3rd book in the Simon Snow trilogy, the first of which is Carry On, which is one of my favorite books. I absolutely love that book. I know it's not for everybody, but like, that audiobook is just, that's my comfort audiobook. I love it. And I don't think it should have been made into a series. I really don't. I mean, they're fine, but it should have just been that one book. And I gave this one 3 stars. Like, it was just a placeholder of like something to listen to. It was just an episodic, like, I know the characters, I like the accents, it's a fun world, but it's really not that good to like continue making the books. So I'm just gonna give it a 3-star. And if you haven't read it, it's like Harry Potter. Like, it's literally Harry Potter, and it's like a Harry Potter fan fiction of Draco and Harry, but if Draco was a vampire and then Harry was a wizard. It's hot. But like, listen, I mean, if you don't like Draco and Harry together, like, I don't know what your deal is. Like, it's some hot shit. It's a YA. It doesn't actually get sexy, but it's still hot. Anyway, Here's a book that I don't really understand why it has the reviews that it does, and it's Madam by Phoebe Wynne. I feel like this has very bad reviews, and I really liked it. I liked it. Like, I didn't love it. It's not great, but it's damn good. I gave this 4 stars. I thought this was damn good. Like, I mean, maybe I could be convinced it was a 3.5, but I'm like, I don't know. I thought it was good. It was fun. I think it has a really good setting. This is like a dark academia, and it's about this teacher who is going to teach at this like all girls boarding school. But when she gets there, it seems like everybody knows something she doesn't. And there's something going on, and she's like really not allowed to ask questions. It has a lot of weird rules there. All the girls are like snobby and strange and have all these secrets. And the teacher's like, what the fuck is going on? It's so strange. And it is like very secluded, and she's not allowed to leave. And it's all this weird shit. So a lot of reviews are saying that they didn't like that the main character was like so stupid, or like that she was the only one that didn't know what was going on. But I didn't feel like the main character was stupid. I feel like she was young and she needed the job really bad. And she was like deflected at every question she would ask, or given like deterred, or answered a question with a question. And yeah, like, I guess, I don't know. I don't agree, because I think that if she had gone like banging on doors being like, answer me, that would annoy the shit out of me, because that's just how bitches die. That's how bitches get got in horror. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is horror. I'm pretty sure this is a mystery. I liked it. And then also the secret of this school, I liked it. I mean, like is, if you know what it is a strong word, but I thought that it was good. I thought that the mystery and what the mystery ended up being, I thought it was good. I liked it. I don't know. I don't understand why people aren't liking it. Am I wrong? Am I the villain? I don't know. The Golden Couple by Sarah Pekkanen and Greer Hendricks. Now, I've already read 2 other books from them, and I know that they're not it for me. They're not. I'm not even going to go into what The Golden Couple is about. It is fine. It is a good book. It's an okay book. But I wouldn't pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Sorry again for the air conditioner. The first book that I physically read in this apartment is And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman. I need all of you to read this book. I am shoving this down everybody's throats that I can. If I can literally even see your throat, I'm shoving it down your throat. Like, I can't even see y'all's throats. I can't even see you, and I'm shoving this book down your throat. This book is so fucking good. This is 5 fucking stars. It's so good. This is about a grandfather, and he is having a conversation with his grandson where he is like suffering from dementia, and he's describing to his grandson like what that's like, and what it's like to forget about things and places and memories and people that you love, and feel like you can feel yourself dying. Like, and you can feel yourself slipping away and know that it's happening. It is fucking heartbreaking. This book is so heartbreaking. You will cry. You will cry. I was sobbing. I was snotting. I was literally like, like, I was crying so hard. And I think another reason I was crying so hard is because the grandpa in this book is so similar to my dad. So similar to my dad. Literally, I was like, this guy is my dad. Anyway, read this book. It's fucking phenomenal. False Witness by Karen Slaughter, the absolute thriller queen. I'm obsessed with Karen Slaughter. She is a fellow Atlantean, and when I tell you, like, not only are her books set in Atlanta, but like, I'm from Atlanta, and I can tell you from experience that she writes Atlanta so well. Like, so descriptively, so well. It is honestly like makes her book so much scarier for me, because she talks about things so descriptively. Like, I was reading this book going, I've been to that Santa Bistro. I used to live on that street. I've been to that Chick-fil-A. Like, I know exactly what she's talking about. But I do believe that the book is too long. Like, I think it's too long. I think it drug out way too much. There was a little bit too much description happening. A little bit too many scenes. Like, I felt that like maybe like 100 pages probably could have been cut out of the book, and then it would have been 5 stars. I mean, all of it's good. Like, every single page is good, but they don't all need to exist. Do you know what I'm saying? These 2 sisters, when they are very young, a sticky situation happens, and you're following how they react to that situation, what they do because of that situation, how the guilt fuels the rest of their life, and how they can't like get over the guilt, they can't move on. They have secrets that they have kept from each other and from everyone, and the guilt that they have for the secrets that they've kept from each other, it plays a huge part in their lives, and they deal with it in very different ways. One of them becomes like very hard pressed, like go-getter, action oriented, defending the weak, and then the other one falls into drug addiction. I will say, because a lot of people were asking this question, is if it is as terrifying as Pretty Girls. No, in my opinion, it's not, because Pretty Girls is kind of famously criticized for being so brutal, and it is. Everyone's right. The book is so brutal. It's overly grotesque, almost. I loved it. I thought it was really good. So the difference is that that book is brutal, and then False Witness is unsettling. So it's the difference of, like, in False Witness, it would be like, say the character's sitting there and a guy just puts his hand on her knee and is looking her right in the eye and talking to her like that's not what he's doing. And that his hand is like completely separate than the conversation they're having. And she's just like sitting there like frozen, like, oh my God, what do I do? That's what's happening in False Witness. Where in Pretty Girls, it's like, he jerks off on a dead body or something. Like, it's horrible. Did I give Pretty Girls 5 stars? Yes. Why are you looking at me like that? Another physical read, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This face is making you think that I have a similar opinion as to the rest of BookTube and Bookstagram. You would be mistaken. I gave this 2 stars. What are y'all talking about? This book is not it. This book is not it. It's not it. Am I the villain? Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong? I read it physically, so it's not like I missed anything. It's not like I wasn't paying a full attention. I absolutely was. I do not understand this main character. This main character is so unlikable, and it doesn't make any sense why any of them are friends, because none of them have anything in common. You never get to see any like reactions or scenes of them being friends. It's about these 6 friends, okay, or 7? 6 friends. There was 7, I guess. Anyway, they are going back to their 10-year college reunion, and 10 years before, at their college, one of them ends up dead. And then basically somebody at the college reunion is like, I don't believe that this is the person that did it, and I'm gonna figure out which one of y'all did it. But when I tell you, it's the most like, it's so intense. It's too dramatic. Like, literally this character that's trying to figure this out is like, you did it, tell me why. He has no idea if that person did it. He's just trying to shock them into telling the truth. And he does it over and over and over again. And it's literally so dramatic. Like, he'll be like he'll just like run up to somebody, like out of the fucking blue, and be like, and that's why you murdered her. What? No. And also, I called the plot twist in this so easily. I was like, and the plot twists weren't good. They're not good. Fight the case for me. Why do you like this book? I really, like, truly, I don't understand what I'm missing. The Silvered Serpents by Roshani Chachki. This is the second in the Gilded Wolves trilogy. This suffered from my lack of fantasy enjoyment in November. I gave it 3 stars. It's fine. It's fine. It's good. I wasn't really connected. I do feel like this storyline with Layla is just taking a really long time to get anywhere. Like, it's taking a really long time. I thought we were going to get somewhere. We didn't. We didn't get anywhere. And it's like, I don't really feel like there was really that much of a plot happening in this book. But again, I don't know. I'm going to keep this and the Gilded Wolves and hopefully reread them at some point, and then read the Bronzed Beasts, I think is the 3rd book. Hopefully in the future. I'm not going to get into what it's about because clearly I wasn't vibing with it this month, and I don't want to give anyone a negative opinion about it because I think that it is my fault that I didn't like it. So we're just going to move on. And for my only nonfiction of 2021, I have Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I gave this 5 stars. If you haven't read it, read it. It's so phenomenal. It's so good. It is written exquisitely. Chanel Miller, like, this is up there with The Stranger Beside Me in terms of my favorite nonfictions of all time. This is the woman who at 22 years old was savagely assaulted by Brock Turner. I'm sure you've heard of the case. It was everywhere for a very long time. It went on for a very long time. It was horrifyingly tragic. It is told so stunningly. It's like every time that something goes to get too emotional in the book, she'll reel it back and tell you like a funny anecdote about her and her sister. Or she'll tell you just like some random tidbit, like a little bit of information about this, because she doesn't want you to get too wound up in her story or too wound up in your own story. She doesn't want you to start thinking about like yourself or get caught up in emotions and move on. She's like, no, I need you to listen to me. And this is the girl that her statement that she gave a 12-page statement to Brock Turner. Because you can do that in court, like when the verdict is read and everything, you can give like a last statement as the defendant, as a witness and everything. So she gave a 12-page statement, and BuzzFeed published all 12 pages of it, and it went viral. But it went under the name Emily Doe because that was the name she was using for the case, and no one knew that it was her. And it went viral, and it was this like, all these assault victims were like, oh my God, like you just said it beautifully. I could never have said it better. And she was like, I said that. I said that. So she wrote a book to be like, know my name. Like, don't just call me the person who Brock Turner assaulted. Like, my name is Chanel Miller. Like, I did this. And she wrote this book, and it touched so many people. And I definitely think that no matter what you read, no matter what genre you read, no matter who you are, I would suggest reading this book because it is that good. TikTok made me do it. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is a book that is supposed to be like it's a published Reylo fan fiction. So it's Kylo Ren and Rey from Star Wars, obviously, like, duh, you can see it. 60% of the book, I was like, this is 5 stars. I'm in love with him. Oh my God, this is amazing. And I read this physically. I was so in love. And then I started to realize the plot holes and the things that just like did not work were becoming more vivid. And then I got bored pretty much and then didn't end up really liking it. I'm giving this 3.5 because there was a lot of parts in the beginning and middle that I really loved. But the thing is, it's just too, okay. The whole just kissing the first person you see out of nowhere is like, what? Like, okay, that's weird. And then also the best friend was way too pushy. Like they start fake dating to like trick the best friend into thinking like, oh, well, she's over her ex so that the ex can date him, which I was like, you don't need to keep fake dating this guy. Like, just let your best friend like do what she wants to do. Like, you don't need to keep fake dating him for like months. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then also the best friend would be like, well, if you're really dating, you sit on his lap or go kiss him. I'm like, stop. That's fucking weird, girl. Like, stop it. Like, go watch porn if that's what you want. Anyway, I didn't like that. And then also I felt like it stayed the same note for a long time. It was really cute in the beginning, but it never changed. It never like got more, I felt. Anyway, whatever. I liked it at the beginning, ended up giving it 3.5 stars. Let's move on. The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. I gave this 4 stars. It is like a Frankenstein retelling. There's a boy who is very strange, and like he would be like the Victor Frankenstein, you know? He's very strange. And his mother basically takes this girl in, our main character, Elizabeth, to watch him and to basically like train him to be a normal person. And he acts better around her because he cares for her. And she helps him not be like a psycho, basically. And then later on, he's like, obviously, like he's doing experiments on things and people and stuff, like trying to create this monster, you know what I'm saying? And it's her relationship with him and how it is this like very interesting gray moral, like fucked up love story of like how she kind of created him into being this person. And like, she thought that she was helping him be like normal, but really she was like nurturing this psychosis. I don't know. I really liked it. It has a very beautiful gothic writing. I think it's really good, and it's a very short book, so you're not gonna waste much time, even if you only end up just liking it, which I think you will. It's short. I think it's worth your time. My next physical read is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. I have already gotten rid of the book. I gave it 2 stars. I didn't like it. That's also unfortunate because I really thought I was gonna love this book. My biggest thing I have to say, why is the main character named Felix Blackwell if the author's name is Felix Blackwell? Like, that's fucking weird. And it's also like not a self-insert because it's not like the story is told like the main character is like telling you the story, like, oh, it's me. It just happens to be that the author named, and I tried to look it up why he did it and I couldn't find anything. So if you know, let me know because The fuck? The wife sleepwalks, the girlfriend, whatever. She sleepwalks and she talks in her sleep. And he's always thought that like she just talks in her sleep, it's a dream. But really she's talking to these skinwalkers and they're talking to her and trying to get her to tell them her secrets and stuff. They don't know how to talk, so it's like they can just mimic what people say. So they're trying to get close enough to like see people's facial features so that they can like steal them and like steal their voices so that they can trick people into thinking they're alive so they'll let them into their house. Here's the thing, that sounds all well and good, and okay, and it's very fast paced. You hit the ground running, but here's the thing, you don't stop running, and 3 hours later, you're like, why am I still running? Like, what was I running from? And I don't even see what I'm running to. Like, what's going on? Like, there's no scenery. Like, what's happening? I'm just running for what? For what? Am I scared? I don't know. I didn't like it. Let's stop talking about it. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I have also since gotten rid of this book. I was physically reading this and I got like 80 pages in, I believe, and DNF'd it, but I do have opinions, so I am gonna count it as a book for this month. Here's the thing. It's so long. It's like 570 pages. It's like fucking ridiculous. Like, there is no reason why a romance should be that long. Like, I honestly don't feel like any book should be over 400 pages, but that's me. It's easy to read. It was, but it was not very interesting. And also, I did not like the way they talked about sex workers or like strippers, stuff like that. The main character, her sister is a stripper, and the way they talk about it is not okay. Like, she's like, well, she has to do that, or like, oh, like, you know, she doesn't want to, like, she hates her job, but like, blah, blah, blah. And then I flipped into the back, or like toward the back, to just see if things were gonna get more interesting. And literally what I flipped to was the guy telling the girl, like, oh, you would never do what your sister does because you're a good girl. No. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This I gave 4.5 stars. This is absolutely stunning. The hype is so real. It was just so enticing. The writing is this like gothic literature. It's so beautiful. It's like a Dracula book where it's not a retelling of Dracula, but it's like if Dracula is one of the main characters, and it is like he famously had like a lot of wives, you know, progenies and whatnot. So this is one of his progenies who thinks that she's the only one, and she's in love with him, and it's a very messed up love situation. It's very Stockholm syndrome. She's so obsessed with him, and she finds out that she might not be the only person that he has sired and that he will ever sire, or maybe that he has sired recently. And the jealousy and all of that goes along with that, and her discovering how emotionally manipulative he has been, and trying to free herself from this relationship while also being so stark raving in love with him. Like, she's so emotionally invested in this man slash vampire. And the telling of their drinking blood, the telling of them seducing people, the telling of like how he has kind of held these people captive is so good. It's just, it's good. Like, I don't even know what else to say. Like, if you're wondering about reading it, like, it's fantastic. Definitely give it a try. My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. I physically read this, and this is actually a reread of mine because I listened to the audio last year, like a year and a half ago or something, and gave it 5 stars. And then I physically read it, and I also gave it 5 stars. This is so good. Like, Samantha Downing cannot miss. This is about a married couple who kills people together. The family that slays together stays together. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so fantastic. And also, like, the way that they started doing this, the way, like, the mutual admiration that they have for each other, because they're like, oh my God, you're like so smart. Oh my God. It's literally like, oh, they're killing somebody, and she's like, you are so sexy right now. Like, it's so good. It is very Amy Dunn vibes, like, of the mentality of her, the main character. It's so good. And like, I don't know. I just really, really like this. Honestly, I don't feel like I need to say anything else because that should have sold you. Like, that really should have sold you. Like, they kill people together. Hello? This last book, y'all. This last book! Oh my God! I just finished it this morning. All of Us Villains. All of Us Villains. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Do you understand? You don't understand. 5 stars. Favorite. Not only my favorite of November, but probably one of my favorite books of the year. Oh my God, I was enraptured. I was enlightened. I was engaged. I was excited. I fucking love this book. Fucking love this book. Do you see this cover? This is the best cover of the year. I love this so much that I feel like I'm probably wrong in like recommending it to just anybody, because I feel like this is a book where, you know, the vibes, that's the thing, is I love this so much because of vibes. It's not like I'm sitting here going, oh my God, this is the most well-written book of all time. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. But I fucking loved it. Fucking loved it. Okay. This is like if you took the characters of Vicious with the magic of Harry Potter and put them into the Hunger Games. That's what this book is like. There's 7 families and they have to pick somebody from this family to go and compete in this tournament where they kill each other. So it's like 7 of their kids who kill each other, and whoever is the last standing, they win, and their family gets to like have high magic and gets to like rule over the city for the next 20 years. The thing is, if they don't do it, if they do not compete, if they choose not to, then nobody gets magic for 20 years. And they're like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. Not okay with that. Like, we need magic, okay? So they send their kids off to die. It's pretty wild. It's so good. It's so good. And if you read it and you don't like it, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. This is vibes. It's vibes, okay? It's my vibes. Like, I fucking loved it. And I'm not saying you will love it. I hope you do. But I didn't say that you would. Okay, that is going to finally wrap it up for all 26 books I read in November, which is so crazy. Good Lord. I can already tell that December is not going to have that many books because I feel like I probably burnt myself out, to be honest. But if you've gotten this far into the video, leave the knife emoji because of this beautiful cover for my lovely wife. And if you've also gotten this far in the video, please leave a comment of if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to subscribe, you could always do that. It doesn't cost you anything. You could if you felt like it. Like, I'm not pressuring you, but I am. I hope that you are having an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, whatever it is you're having right now. And I will see you in a video coming very soon. Bye.